Hello, this is the second module in week 5, producing industrial materials. So this module is pretty interesting. So we see lots of industrial products such as metal or wood, lumber wood, but we haven't looked at how those materials were produced. So this lecture includes the interesting facts about the material producing. Um, this module is the third one. So let's see here. So producing industrial material. So I have 5 objectives. First one is define and identify various kind of standard stock and describe 4 major types of synthetic wood composites. So actually, I'm gonna highlight three, not four. So, but this is so important: synthetic wood, and list the forms of plastic standard stock, and describe steps in making iron and steel stock, and explain how to first the products are converted into standard stock. Those are also keywords. All right, last module we saw these raw materials. So those are raw material, but um we are we are convert those those raw material into industrial material. So this lecture will show how to convert. So the definition. So standard stock. So this is the definition. So standard stock means material output by primary processing operations. So from the nature, we obtain all material from nature, and then after processing primary, we can get standard stock. So yeah, and then mostly standard stocks are available in standard size unit or standard formulas, such as grade, which represents qualities, and size and shapes. So this is a quick overview of stock forms. So metal and then wood. We may have seen wood products like this, lumber or panel, dowel. Those are standard stock. So for example, the lumber is produced by like 2x4, 2x2, 2x3, and then also panel produced by 2x4 feet or like 36 by 72, such as like this. And then also we saw mold and then other materials. But metals also has the certain stock forms. So ice section. So these materials are usually used in the construction sites, such as building houses or building bridges. We use these standard materials. Also, solid bar like this we produce, and then metal sheets like this. But in reality, mostly metal sheets are sold by like low. So in the metal metal manufacturing, once they produce metal sheet, they rolled and then to send to the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer use the metal roll to produce other materials such as refrigerator or car or other all materials, and also different size thickness. All right, so I think you saw this producing natural wood process in the previous modules. I recommend you to watch the YouTube video. If you didn't haven't yet watched the YouTube video, you should watch the video before you see this slide. All right, this is a process. So as you saw in the video, so first process is tree felling. So that means cutting trees using some tools, machines. And then second is stacking and then storing the wood. And then next is sending the, we call this as like lumber to sawmill. This is wood factory. So in the wood factory, they cut the wood following the standard procedure, standard to the standard size. And then once the sawmill produce the wood that called green lumber. So green lumber is the almost natural wood that cut by standard size, but green lumber usually contain lots of moisture. So usually like moisture level will be to 25%. So the heavy lumber. So the moisture in lumber cause the change of the shapes of the lumber, the wood. So that's why we send to the another level that is called seasoning, where the wood were dried like this, and then they send to the store, so that we can buy this standard size wood lumber, and then make our own product using like cutting or sawing, milling, like this. This will be our final project, final product. So these are wood processing process. So once we produce wood, so we can get the standard wood stock, which is lumber or panel. So first one, the lumber. Okay, the lumber is pieces of wood that have been made to a certain size. So these are examples of standard size. So 1 by 2 represent, let's say this is a wood lumber, and then the 1 by 2 means its its height. I want to go back. Its height is 1, and then the depth or the width will be 2 inch. So 1 inch, 2 inch. These represent this side, and then the side has two actual sides. So one is normal, and the second is actual side. So normal side is the side you can see in the label. So if you go to the wood store, they sell wood with the standard size. But as I mentioned, like 2 by 2, 2 by 4. But actual size is a little bit slightly different. This is their actual size. So if we bring the lumber and then measure, that will be actual this size. So I don't know why they made like this, but according to certain like a paper, they said the normal size or nominal size is from sapwood. That means before like finishing the final the size, and the actual size is the final standard size. I don't know why they exist too, but we have to keep in mind the normal size and actual size are different, right? We have to keep in mind. So that's why when we design wood product, I recommend you always measure again. Just please you don't need to lean to the normal or nominal size, right? That's the differences. And then let's look at the wood structure, so to better understand why certain wood has certain property. So this is the example of 2 by 4 wood. So this is 2 by 4. So like this. So if you see the 2 by 4 wood, right? Right. Right. So this is 2 by 4. So can you see certain pattern like this? And here, yeah. And these called the grain. These are grain. So this is a grain. So what does mean the grain? What does it represent? And we can see the grain right here, and also here. Yeah. So I'm gonna explain using this my screen here. So the grain that has a pattern shows pattern in the wood lumber like this. These are here the growth rings. The growth rings are grain, right? These are grain. So the growth ring is identical to the age of the wood. So if we count the ring number of ring, and maybe that is 40 rings, that means its age is 40. So this is age ring we call it, or age rings or growth rings. This is because the wood, as wood grows, that create different pattern by these types of wood, spring wood and summer wood. So spring wood means the wood grown in spring, but summer wood means grown in summer or autumn. So if you can see, spring wood is wider, and then summer wood is dark and then narrow. This is because the spring wood has a lot of warmth and the moisture that helped the tree grow fast. So that's why it has a wider. So let's say this is a wood, and tree bushes, and then it has root. So when the to grows the wood, they need nutrition. So nutrition from its root. The root send nutrition to branch or the leaves. So and then they also transfer between them. And then these are cell structure, and that functions to transfer the nutrition. So that called sap. So that's why when wood grow faster, then they have wider or bigger this sap structure. But when wood grows slowly, they have small this area. So that's why they has different pattern. So wider and then smaller. That represents one ring. So one ring is 1 year, right? That's why we can see this pattern in the wood, right? And then also in the wood structure, we can see sapwood and heartwood. So as wood grown up, so I'm gonna draw again. So as the first year, wood was small, and then next year, wood getting bigger, and then they put another layer. And then next year, they put another layer. This is wood, right? So each year would produce a new layer, like the spring or summer wood. So the inside area doesn't function. So they only function 1 year, and after next year, the tree create a new structure, uh, and then use only this area. So at the moment we cut the tree, we can find the active area that is sapwood. So that's a live wood, and then the heartwood is the dead area. So mostly we use the heartwood rather than sapwood because heartwood is the structure of heartwood is more sturdy than sapwood. And then another one I want to highlight here is when you use the wood like this. So sometimes students mistakenly use the wood direction. So we can use wood direction like this and this way. So for example, when you make a structure, some students want to put a structure like this way, or the other students use it like this way and this way. But which direction is more stronger than the other direction, right? So for example, like this, if you want to make wood or a structure, and then let's say putting a load here, this way or this way, which direction is more stronger? Yeah, this way, because you see the fiber grain line. So this fiber is more make a wood stronger, right? So we need to use this cross the grain line, the cross the grain line. That's more stronger. So if you try to make a certain structure using this angle, this direction, that when we push the more load, then the wood can be broken like this way by following the grain line, right? That's important. And then next is hardwood and softwood. So hardwood in general, hardwood is heavy and darker, and the softwood is lighter, and then lightweight and light color. So those are their characteristics. But that is not 100% true. Sometimes certain softwood wood is harder than hardwood. So not always hardwood is heavier nor darker than softwood. It depends on the specific wood. So the categorization between two is based on this fact, the broadleaf or needleaf. So like oak tree, you can see broadleaf, that is hardwood. But softwood is like needle types leaves, such as pine. Those are softwood, right? So and hardwood is more dense and that less than softwood. And then this is one characteristic. So hardwood is more expensive than softwood. So that's why if you buy a expensive furniture, that will be hardwood, but most inexpensive wood will be mostly softwood. So this is differences because the hardwood, in general, the quality of hardwood is much better than softwood. So this is also this characteristic comes from its growth. So hardwood grows slowly and then live older than softwood. But softwood grows faster than hardwood. That's the differences. So and then this is also interesting. So hardwood is more environmental effect, while softwood is less environmental effect. So why does hardwood have more environmental effect? Why? There's a certain reason, but I will leave this question to you, and then we can discuss in our synchronous class. Okay, so you can think yourself or do some internet search, and then find the reason. Okay, and then there are a certain number of synthetic wood composite. So this is not natural wood. So once we produce wood from log, let's say this okay, let's say this is a wood log, and then we this is the pattern, and in the sawmill we cut the lumber this way, this way. So the certain part like this became a lumber, like 2x4, or 2x10, or 2 by something. That is the lumber. But in reality, we need wide panel just rather than lumber. But let's say this wood. This wood diameter was like 8 inch. 8 inch is big, right? But we need like 20-inch panel. How can get 20-inch panel? Wood is 8 inch. The answer would be we get lumber and then attach several lumber and make a big panel. That's in the natural wood. So we glue with hot temperature, then make a very smooth panel, natural wood panel. But people like engineers generate the synthetic wood like plastic. So there's certain types. So first one is plywood, and then particle board, and then MDF, medium density fiber board. The plywood is I think the most expensive among the three. It depends on its type, but plywood has more quality, high quality than others. So plywood is a panel composed of a core. This area is a core, and then face layer of uh, banners. This face. So the banners are the outer shapes. So like we cut the apple. So the when make a we can peel off the outer layer in the from the log, like our layer. That is banner. So the out layer we attach to the top and bottom, and the inside we make like sandwich, um, like add certain layers of plywood, certain layers of wood panel, a thin wood panel, and then make this pattern. So you can see the differences, color differences. That is a pattern. So in general, the plywood has a 3 layer, 5 layer, or 7 layers. It depends on their thickness. But when they make a like sandwich panel, they do different pattern, cross pattern, called cross band. So the first layer has the use grain panel like this way. This is first layer, and then second layer we add up second layer like this sectional grain line, and then third layer also again with same with the first layer this way. So this crossband make a sturdy or more stronger the wood panel. So that's why it is plywood. And particle board use chopped wood chips from the wood manufacturing process. So this is a way we maximize the use of wood. So from the wood we can get some chips, and then we glue the chips with the hot temperature, hot pressure with the resin and glue. So that's the chopped wood chips, and we put a lot of glues, and also we use the viers or laminate film, the top and bottom. Right, this is the particle board, and the third type is MDF. So MDF is similar to particle board, but we that there is no chips, because that is more finer wood chips, and then push more high temperature and high pressure when they glue the chips. So that's why they called a medium density fiberboard. So yeah, density is much higher than particle board. That's the MDF. All right, and then next is metal process. So I prepared this YouTube video so that illustrate the process of iron produce. So from the iron ore to pig iron. So that this YouTube is very nice. So I'm not going to play this YouTube video because of copyright policy. All right, so let's watch this video while pausing my lecture. Oh. All right, so the YouTube video illustrates the many processes such as environmental analysis and then transporting and then melting, yeah, all the process. So we are looking at the step-by-step process. So first one is preparing raw material. So the metals come from iron ore. So if you like go to the certain mountain, there is a ore. So we dig the hole and then collected the ore, and then the ore has a random size and the random shapes. So we don't use the ore as it is. So we convert or crush and then make a small grains. That's called pellet. So and then yeah, we use the pellet in the process. And then these are other terminology, but one thing I want to highlight is the coke. So this is not a drink. That is called the coke. It's clean burning high carbon fuel made from coals. So in the process of metal production, we use this coke to as a fuel as well as a carbon source. So coal with impurities blown out of it. So this is the process as you saw in the video, and I also brought this image from this website. So this is the pellets and then coke. So the machine drop pellets and coke to here. This is a furnace, and then in the bottom, the hot air is blown up from the bottom. So that's why there's a different temperature. So the bottom is very high temperature, and then top is lower temperature. But keep in mind, this is Celsius. So if you compare to Fahrenheit, that will be much higher than Celsius. And then, yep. And then, yeah, after the process, there's a two product. So first one is the slug, and then second one is like molten iron. So actually, molten slug is a waste that contain a lot of impurities, and then molten iron is actual iron, so that we are using in the process of metal. So we are using this one. So this show more details about the making iron process. So first of all, the pellet has a lot of moisture. So in the process, moisture are evaporated like with the high temperature, and then limestone begin to decompose, and then CO2 given off, because the purpose of this making iron, this process is removing impurities. So impurities include like lots of minerals such as silicon or phosphorus or sulfur, manganese. These are common minerals contained in comes with iron. So the element is ferrous. So mostly ferrous comes with lots of other elements like this one or yeah. These are impurities as well as the lots of carbon. So these carbon or also and then these impurities determine the characteristics of ferrous. So this process remove those things. One example is like this. Ferrous comes with carbon, and then we put a lot of oxygen, and then that produce pure ferrous, and then carbon dioxide, right? So that's why in the process of metal production, there produce a lot of carbon dioxide. That is also make a pollution. And this is the process, and then the outcome is slag and iron. So iron is heavier than other impurity or slag, so that's why there's two layer. So using gravity, molten iron, which is heavier one, comes to the bottom. These are chemical, so this shows how we remove impurities from the iron ore, pig iron. So pig iron is from the primary process, and then after primary process we can get pig iron. The pig iron still has lots of carbon and other impurities, so we use the called basic oxidation process, where we blow out like pure oxygen into this furnace, right? So in the process, we put a lot of oxygen, like blow away to the melt or slag, and then that create a chemical process like this. So basically, the ferrous combined with oxygen, so produce um, ferrous oxide. But these are comes with the iron ore, so such as silicon combined with oxygen. By putting oxygen, they create dioxide silicon. Also, this one also we can remove the um, phosphorus and also manganese and then sulfur, also removed with the calcium oxide by creating calcium sulfur with oxygen. These are impurities, right? And then after the slug, we send to next process, like conveyor belt, this roller rotating, and then send like molten iron, and then that as by cooling down, that create a certain metal product. Those are metal products. So my sheet or plate or band, rod, square, hexagonal, octagonal, angle, channel, I-beam. After this, they can like press or other things, other process that create the standard metal product. All right, this is overview of the metal production. So as I mentioned, iron ore or pellet. So usually people use pellet. So pellet sometimes they can directly go to the reduction process where they put the pellet with the coke that produce directly the metal product, or they go to the furnace. This is the process I showed in the previous slide, where we create molten iron called or pig iron. So pig iron goes to this process, basic oxygen process, where we pour a lot of oxygen to remove impurity or carbon. And then next we're sending to the pressing or rolling process. So where we produce a flap or billet or bloom. Like you can see different shapes. These are metal industrial products. All right. These are the end. So this lecture showed how we produce wood or metal product. So, all right, next will be the next week. Next week will be the secondary manufacturing process, where we can see how we convert this metal into our final product using certain method. All right, so thank you for watching.